Hi there, Pamela Nance here, diet-free weight loss coach, coming to talk to you about my 6-week summer campaign that I'm calling 6 Weeks of Summer Self-Love. That makes me think of that song from Grease. Summer lovin' had me a blast. Summer lovin' happened so fast. Probably dating myself there. Anyhow, the reason I want to talk to you about self-love is because it really does relate to shedding weight without dieting. And why is that? The reason being that when you are fully loving and appreciating yourself and having compassion and kindness, as you go down that path, you end up wanting to feed yourself things that make you feel good and that give you energy and that nourish you. So self-love to me is super important. So I want to talk about it today. And first off, I want to give you a definition about self-love, which is having a high regard for yourself, having a high positive regard for yourself, for your happiness, for your well-being. And it's been seen throughout the ages. I did a little research on this. It's been seen as both a positive attribute and a flaw. So I feel like, we still have some residuals from the time when it was a flaw that people feel like, oh, that's selfish if I have self-love, if I'm loving myself, that's really selfish. And that has been one view throughout history. And it wasn't really until it looked like around the 1800s, the 19th century, where psychology started to sort of take a turn and realize, there are some positive things about people really loving themselves. Jesus had his own take on self-love, like love thy neighbor as thyself. So in that quote, that basically is, to me, is saying, yeah, you should love yourself well and love your neighbor as thyself. Because Jesus wouldn't be saying, hate yourself and hate your neighbor as yourself. You know what I mean? So it really didn't start gaining in awareness and popularity, though, until about the 1950s. It was the beatnik era. The hippies probably had to do with acid and weed, and it really had to do with coming off of World War II and Vietnam, and just like, okay, this is not working. This warring world that we're in is just not working. Let's try a different approach, and let's look at really loving ourselves. It actually has been shown with research that not loving yourself, having a low opinion of yourself and low self-esteem can lead to suicidal tendencies. So it is very, very important, and my take on it, and what I have been studying with myself as my own student, is that we are our first human that we can practice compassion, kindness, understanding, and love for. You see, when you start to really become aware, and I would say, like, a lot of people aren't really aware of what's going on in their mind, like what's going on with their self-talk, which is why in my program I really do promote slowing down, doing some deep breathing, some meditation, and taking some moments to start listening to what is going on inside of your mind and start to hear voices of the self-critic. And I was listening to a podcast today, and the woman was saying that we all have a self-critic. And, I think she's probably right, but, I have to wonder, like, before we are raised and socialized and, when we're just born as these innocent little beings, is there really a voice going on in there saying you're bad or you're wrong or you're making mistakes or you're a fuck up? I don't think so. So I would argue that, while there are some good things about having, I would say a self, like more of criticism, it would be like, just like a critical thinking mind, like, hey, if you stick your hand in that fire, you're gonna get burnt. Like sort of like a helper that's gonna keep us from killing ourselves, which is what is really going on at the heart of things. But as far as a voice, a critical voice that's saying things like, you're stupid, you're worthless, you don't matter, people don't like you, people don't love you, you're a nothing, you're never gonna be anything, you're never gonna amount to anything, you're to this or to that, or you're not enough. You know, I don't think that that is an innate born thing. I think that's a learned thing. We get messages from all over the place. So what I want to really do with this video is just to bring an awareness to the concept of self-love and to know that there is a positive reason for it, and to really examine like what comes up for you when I say the words self-love. I mean, do you think of selfishness or of having a bunch of pride or of being boastful? Those are aspects that have been placed on top of the words self-love and give it a bad connotation. But what I'm offering is that it is a good thing, that what you practice on yourself, the way that you treat yourself in your mind and in your actions, is your very basic relationship with human beings. How you treat yourself is how you are going to treat other people. And so nurturing your relationship with yourself, it's like we have a soul, we have a spirit, we have this watcher that is in here that can observe our thoughts and observe our actions, and treating our being, our body and our thoughts and our desires for this life, treating them with respect, compassion, adoration, and love is a net positive activity. Because as well as you treat yourself, filling up your own cup of self-love, of going for what you want, of feeling your emotions, of having the ability to regulate your emotions, of having the ability to go for the things that you desire, the more that you can mature into an understanding that your self-love and your concept of yourself is something that's going to affect every relationship that you have, and it's going to affect your work, and it's going to affect the whole way that you live your life. And so as much as you can do, you know, to cultivate a kind and loving relationship with yourself, that's going to add to the peacefulness and the happiness and the joy that's on the planet. It really is. You filling up your own cup, putting on your oxygen mask first, grabbing your paddle to row the boat, getting your paddle steadfastly in your hand, that's going to serve everyone. So I want to say self-love is not a selfish act. It is a very generous act, one of the most generous things that you can do on this planet. That's my take on it. And I have 5 more videos for you where I'm going to talk about components of self-love, how to do a self-love assessment, how to look at some voices that may have been, some projections that may have been placed upon you growing up, how to just sort of peel back the mask so you can really get a view of who you really are and start loving that unique being that you have to be on this planet. I mean, you are the only you that will ever be born. That's it. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I really, really hope that you can start today practicing your self-love. And the first tip I will give you as I end this video is just to start noticing the messages that you tell yourself. Just to start noticing. And don't beat yourself up if you find some that aren't very loving. What we want to do now is just pull back the curtain and shine some light in there. So from this moment forward, start looking at the voices in your mind that come up that tell you things about yourself. Okay, that's your assignment. I will talk with you soon. Thanks for checking out my video. All right, take care.